All right, welcome back to the deep dive. Our mission here is to take the sources you send our way and, well, really distill them down into their most powerful, most essential insights.
And today we are tackling a truly foundational text. I mean, it's more than just a book. It's a testament to human resilience.
It really is. We're getting into Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning.
It sold millions and millions of copies, and for good reason. Frankl was a Viennese psychiatrist, and he lived through 3 years in Nazi concentration camps. Auschwitz, Dachau.
And in that time, he lost his entire immediate family. His mother, father, brother, his wife.
All of them. And the sources say he wrote the first version of this book in just 9 days. Anonymously at first, right after he was liberated in 1945.
Which is just staggering. And what makes it so revolutionary is that he wasn't just surviving. He was using that unimaginable suffering as a kind of laboratory.
A laboratory for human motivation.
Exactly. Our mission today is to really get into his core idea that the most basic human drive isn't for pleasure or for power. It's the will to meaning.
And that is the crucial pivot. He's directly challenging Freud's will to pleasure and Adler's will to power. For Frankl, the question isn't what we expect from life. It's about what life expects from us.
And the single biggest takeaway, the one he validated in the worst possible circumstances, is this idea of an ultimate freedom.
The freedom to choose one's attitude in a given set of circumstances.
That's the one thing, he argues, that can never, ever be taken away from you.
It's an incredible claim, and to even begin to understand it, we have to go there, into the camps with him. He's very clear he isn't writing about the great horrors, the atrocities.
Not the big historical events. He's focused on the multitude of small torments.
The day-to-day psychology of the average prisoner. He was just number 119,104, his main job, laying railway tracks.
So let's trace that psychological journey. It starts with what he calls phase 1. Shock and illusion.
The arrival. He describes the uncanny sound of the train whistle at Auschwitz and just the pure terror of the name itself.
But even then, there's this clinging to what he called a delusion of reprieve.
A desperate hope, right, that somehow it won't be as bad as they say.
A hope that gets obliterated almost instantly at the selection.
The SS officer's finger game? Just a casual gesture. A flick to the right meant you were fit for work. A flick to the left.
To the gas chambers. And Frankl says for his transport, it was a 90% death sentence for those sent left.
90%.
And there's this one moment for him personally where that illusion just completely shatters. It's so vivid.
The manuscript.
The manuscript, yeah. He'd smuggled in his life work, a scientific book. He thought his whole identity was tied up in it. He asks a veteran prisoner how he can save it.
And the prisoner just replies with the cynical camp word for everything. Shit.
And in that one word, Frankl says he struck out his whole former life. He realized all he had left was his ridiculously naked life.
That's it. Everything external was gone.
And that stripping away leads right into phase 2.
Apathy. Which isn't just sadness. It's a necessary defense mechanism. A blunting of all emotion just to survive the constant assault on your dignity.
The examples are just brutal in their coldness.
He says you'd see a comrade die, and your first thought wouldn't be grief. It would be, can I get his shoes? Maybe his coat.
Or watching a 12-year-old boy having his frostbitten toes picked off with tweezers and feeling nothing.
Nothing at all. It was a regression to a primitive state. Existence was just about the next piece of bread.
He talks about the endless mental debates over the bread ration. Do you eat it all now?
Or save one tiny crumb for later. Their dreams weren't about freedom.
No, they're about cake, warm baths, food. He even notes that the sexual urge completely disappeared because of the malnourishment.
When your body is just focused on surviving minute to minute, that's all there is. But, and this is the incredible turn.
This is where his argument becomes so powerful.
Exactly. Despite this total physical and psychological degradation, Frankl sees this breakthrough of inner life.
The external world is a gray, muddy, hopeless pit.
But the inner world, he found, could actually intensify. It became a refuge.
They were proving that even if you're treated like an animal, you don't have to think like one.
Which led him to this core realization that love is the ultimate and the highest goal to which man can aspire.
The image he paints of this is unforgettable.
Yeah.
He's marching for miles in the freezing cold, half dead, and he's having these silent conversations with an image of his wife in his mind.
And he realizes that it doesn't even matter if she's alive or dead. The love itself, the spiritual connection, transcends her physical person. The guards couldn't touch that.
And it wasn't just love, it was beauty too.
Yes, the sunset, standing there in the squalor, looking at this beautiful sunset over the Bavarian woods.
And another prisoner just whispers how beautiful the world could be.
A moment of pure grace. And Frankl didn't just experience this, he actually weaponized it. He developed a technique.
Detachment.
A kind of scientific detachment. He would force his mind to step outside his body and observe his own suffering, as if he were preparing a lecture on the psychology of the concentration camp.
He quotes Spinoza, basically saying that an emotion, it stops being suffering as soon as we form a clear and precise picture of it.
You're not denying the pain, you're just reframing your relationship to it. And that cognitive shift was the one thing the SS couldn't control.
But there was a danger that could destroy even that. The provisional existence of unknown limit.
The loss of a future. When a prisoner lost hope, when they couldn't see a point to striving anymore, they just decayed.
The story of the composer F is just chilling proof of this.
He had this prophecy, a dream, that he'd be liberated on March 30th, 1945. He was absolutely convinced of it.
And when March 30th came and went, and nothing happened.
He got sick that night, delirious, and he was dead the next day. Typhus.
Frankl's diagnosis was that his spiritual resistance collapsed, and so his physical resistance followed.
He saw the same thing happen right after Christmas in 1944. The death rate just soared. The disappointment was literally fatal.
And this insight, that meaning and hope are actual physical necessities, that becomes the bridge to his whole therapeutic system.
Logotherapy.
Right. So if that ultimate freedom is choosing your attitude, let's dive into how Frankl turns that into a practice for the rest of us. Logotherapy or meaning-centered psychotherapy.
The focus is completely different from other therapies. It's all about the future, the meaning that a person still needs to fulfill.
And he argued that the biggest problem of the 20th century wasn't a neurosis about sex or power, but what he called the existential vacuum.
A feeling of deep inner emptiness. Meaninglessness.
He traces it back historically. First, we lost the animal instincts that told us what to do. Then we lost the traditions that guided us. We're left totally adrift.
And that vacuum doesn't just feel like boredom. In our world, you can see it everywhere. In the endless distraction, the burnout.
The pressure to curate a perfect life online.
Exactly. Without an inner compass, Frankl says, people either fall into conformism, just doing what everyone else does, or totalitarianism, doing what other people tell them to do.
He even cites a survey of American students where 60% said their primary goal in life was finding a purpose and meaning.
And when that drive for meaning is frustrated, the vacuum demands to be filled. That's where you see addiction, aggression, sexual compensation.
And he gives it a name, Sunday neurosis.
That feeling, the depression that hits when the busyness of the week stops and you're suddenly alone with your inner emptiness.
So if the goal isn't just to be comfortable, to be without tension, what does mental health actually look like for Frankl?
He calls it new dynamics. It's not a tensionless state. True mental health is the tension between what you are now and what you could become.
The striving for a worthy goal.
Yes. He uses that great metaphor of the arch. If architects want to strengthen a decrepit arch, they increase the load.
The weight, the responsibility is what gives you strength, not the absence of it.
Which means we have to stop asking life, what is your meaning? Instead, we have to realize that life is asking us.
We're the ones being questioned.
We are. And our answer is our responsibility, our unique mission.
He even has this categorical imperative for logotherapy. It's incredibly powerful.
Live as if you were living already for the second time, and as if you had acted the first time as wrongly as you are about to act now.
Wow. It forces you to see the finality of life as a reason for urgent moral action right now.
And all of this hinges on self-transcendence. You don't find self-actualization by looking for it. It's a side effect.
The reward you get for dedicating yourself to a cause bigger than you are, or to another person.
You find yourself by forgetting yourself.
So now that we have the theory, let's get practical. What are the pathways to meaning he lays out?
There are three. The first is pretty straightforward, doing a deed or creative work.
The second is through experience or encounter, experiencing goodness, beauty, truth, nature.
Or loving another person. He believed that through love, you see the innermost potential of the other person and help them realize it.
And then there's the third path.
Yeah.
The hardest one, the one he discovered in Auschwitz.
Finding meaning through your attitude toward unavoidable suffering. This is the core of what he calls tragic optimism.
Optimism, in the face of what he calls the tragic triad: pain, guilt, and death.
But he's very careful here. He says this is only for unavoidable suffering. Unnecessary suffering isn't heroic, it's masochistic.
The story he tells about the elderly doctor mourning his wife is the perfect example.
The doctor is devastated. Frankl asks him, "What would have happened if you had died first?" And the doctor says his wife would have suffered terribly.
So Frankl reframes it. You see, doctor, you have spared her all that suffering, but the price you pay is that you must now mourn her.
And in that moment, the suffering found a meaning, the meaning of a sacrifice, and it ceased to be mere suffering.
He does the same thing with guilt and death. Guilt is an opportunity to change for the better.
And death, the transitoriness of life, isn't a reason for despair. It's an incentive. He says we shouldn't focus on the future being empty, but on the full granaries of the past.
All the deeds you've done, the love you've shared, the suffering you've endured bravely.
Exactly. Those are stored forever. He says we should envy old people for these past realities, which can never be taken away. It completely changes how you see aging.
And finally, he gives us a concrete technique for dealing with anxiety. Paradoxical intention.
It's based on two common human traps. First, anticipatory anxiety. The fear of something actually brings that thing about.
And hyperintention. Trying too hard at something makes it impossible.
So the technique uses humor and self-detachment to break that cycle. You invite the patient to intentionally try to do the very thing they fear.
Like the doctor who sweated too much. Frankl told him to go out and resolve to show people just how much he could sweat, to pour at least 10 quarts.
And the moment he stopped fighting it and tried to do it on purpose, he couldn't. The vicious circle was broken.
It's like if you're afraid of public speaking, you go on stage and try to be the most nervous, shaky speaker imaginable. The intention to fail short-circuits the fear of failing.
It's a powerful tool. And it all comes back to this core belief in human dignity and freedom. Even in the face of what he called pandeterminism, the idea that we're just products of our conditions.
He insists we are ultimately self-determining.
His credo is that man is never fully conditioned. The freedom isn't freedom from conditions. It's the freedom to take a stand toward them. Even an incurably ill person still has their human dignity.
He said that in the camps, people didn't become more alike, they became more different.
You saw the swine and the saints. He said every person has both potentialities inside them. Which one you actualize is a matter of decision, not conditions.
So, after all this, what does it mean for us? For you listening now? He leaves us with this really chilling final synthesis.
He forces us to hold two truths at once. Man is that being who invented the gas chambers of Auschwitz.
However, he is also that being who entered those gas chambers upright, with the Lord's Prayer or the Shema Yisrael on his lips.
That's the choice. The potential for both exists in all of us. And he says our task is to strive to join the minority of decent people.
So here's the final thought for you to take away from this deep dive. If Frankl is right, if you are never fully conditioned by your circumstances.
Ask yourself this. What one circumstance in your life right now, a difficulty, a frustrating job, a challenging relationship, are you treating as an unchangeable fate, when really it might just be a situation that's asking you to choose a different attitude?